the scalpel slipped from Tristan Hale's fingers, clattering against the sterile tray like a gunshot in the hushed operating room, as the monitors flatlined their merciless dirge. He stared at the body on the table, a man not much older than himself, eyes glassy and empty, and whispered the name he hadn't meant to say aloud, Liam. Outside, rain hammered the windows of Seattle General Hospital, blurring the city lights into a smear of regret, while inside, the weight of a life lost pressed down on him like the Pacific fog rolling in from the sound. In that frozen moment, Tristan realized the fights, the slammed doors, the bitter words hurled across the thin wall of their shared brownstone had been his way of screaming what his heart refused to admit: he was in love with the man he claimed to hate. Tristan Hale had always been the picture of control. At 28, he was the youngest attending surgeon in the cardiology wing, his days a blur of precise incisions and life-saving rhythms restored. Seattle suited him, or so he told himself, with its perpetual drizzle that mirrored the quiet ache he carried from a childhood in rural Montana, where his father's silence after coming out had taught him to bury emotions deeper than roots in frozen soil. He had moved to the city 5 years ago, trading wide skies for narrow streets lined with coffee shops and ferries cutting through misty waters. His apartment in Capitol Hill was a sanctuary of sleek minimalism, white walls, a single fern on the windowsill, and a bookshelf groaning under medical journals. It was orderly, like his life, until Liam Carver moved in next door. Liam was everything Tristan wasn't. 32, with sun-kissed skin from summer spent hiking the Cascades, messy blonde waves that fell into hazel eyes, and a laugh that echoed through the walls like a challenge. He was a freelance graphic designer, his home office a chaos of sketchpads, empty beer bottles, and indie rock playlists that thumped until midnight. Their first encounter had been civil, a nod in the hallway as Liam hauled in boxes stamped with Portland labels. "Hey, neighbor," Liam had said, flashing a grin that crinkled the corners of his eyes. Liam. You play guitar? I swear I heard Hendrix coming from your place last night." Tristan had stiffened, key halfway to his lock. "That was the TV. And keep it down on your side." It was a lie, he didn't own a guitar, but the defensiveness had already taken root. From there, the skirmishes began small, a note about overflowing trash bins, a complaint over the scent of Liam's cooking, spicy Thai curries that made Tristan's eyes water through the vents. But it escalated. One night, after a 12-hour shift pulling a clot from a teenager's artery, Tristan came home to find Liam's door ajar, music blaring, and a group of friends spilling laughter into the hall. "Turn it off," Tristan snapped, voice raw from exhaustion. Liam sauntered out, shirt untucked, holding a red Solo cup. "Come on, Doc. Live a little. Join us." "I have a life," Tristan shot back, the words tasting like ash. "One that doesn't involve noise complaints at 2 a.m. Liam's friends tittered, but his gaze held Tristan's a beat too long, something unreadable flickering there, curiosity, maybe, or pity. Tristan retreated, slamming his door, heart pounding not from anger, but from the unwelcome heat that Liam's proximity ignited. Weeks blurred into months of this dance. Tristan would scrub in for surgeries, his hand steady as he mapped veins like constellations, but at home, the wall between them became a battlefield. Liam retaliated with passive jabs, leaving his bike chained too close to Tristan's parking spot, blasting podcasts on urban farming during Tristan's rare naps. Once, after a particularly brutal argument over a misplaced delivery package, Liam's fault, Tristan insisted, Liam had leaned in close, breath warm against Tristan's ear. "You know, for a guy who saves lives, you're pretty good at killing vibes." Tristan had shoved him back, harder than intended, and the hurt that flashed in Liam's eyes lingered in his dreams. Yet, beneath the barbs, there were glimpses. Mornings when Tristan left for the hospital at dawn, he'd find a coffee from the corner roastery on his doorstep, black and strong, just how he liked it, no note, but the cup always bore Liam's favorite shop stamp. Evenings, through the wall, he'd hear Liam humming softly while sketching, a melody from some forgotten folk song that tugged at Tristan's buried longing. He told himself it was nothing, that Liam was just another straight guy with a flair for drama, probably dating some barista from Fremont. Tristan had his own ghosts, a failed engagement to a med school classmate named Alex, who had called it off when Tristan's long hours turned their apartment into a mausoleum. "You're married to the job," Alex had said, packing his bags. Since then, Tristan dated sparingly, quick coffees that fizzled, apps swiped left on profiles too eager. Love was a distraction, a weakness in the OR of life. But Liam disrupted the rhythm. One rainy Tuesday, Tristan returned from a conference in Chicago, jet-lagged and hollow, to find his apartment flooded. The pipe above his kitchen had burst, water seeping through the ceiling in a steady drip that mocked his exhaustion. He called maintenance, but they were backed up for days. Desperate, he knocked on Liam's door. The music stopped abruptly, and there stood Liam, barefoot in faded jeans and a paint-splattered tee, eyebrow arched. "Trouble in paradise, Doc." Tristan swallowed pride. "My place is a swamp. Can I crash here? Just tonight." Liam's hesitation was brief, a shadow crossing his face before he stepped aside. "Sure. Couch is all yours. I'll grab towels." The apartment was a revelation. Canvases leaned against walls depicting stormy Puget Sound vistas, books on design theory mixed with dog-eared copies of Walt Whitman. Liam tossed him dry clothes, soft sweats that smelled faintly of cedar, and brewed tea without asking. They sat on the couch, awkward silence broken only by the patter of rain. "You're not what I expected," Liam said finally, legs tucked under him. "Thought doctors were all stiff collars and no soul." Tristan sipped the tea, warmth spreading despite himself. "And you're not the reckless artist stereotype. No beret." Liam chuckled, low and genuine, and for the first time, Tristan saw the lines of fatigue around his eyes, the subtle hunch from hours at a drafting table. "Berets are for tourists. I'm from Eugene, Oregon, grew up on hikes, not galleries. Moved here chasing gigs, but Seattle's got its claws in you." They talked then, haltingly, about the city's hidden gems, the hidden speakeasy in Belltown, the way the Space Needle glowed like a beacon on foggy nights. Tristan shared a story from med school, the first time he held a beating heart in his gloved hands, and Liam's gaze softened, as if seeing him anew. That night, curled on the couch with a blanket that carried Liam's scent, Tristan lay awake, listening to the man's steady breathing from the bedroom. The wall of animosity had cracked, and through it seeped something dangerous, possibility. But dawn brought reality. Maintenance fixed the pipe by noon, and Tristan was back in his sterile space, the coffee on his stoop gone cold. He threw himself into work, ignoring the way his pulse quickened at Liam's footsteps next door. Fights resumed, petty, fueled by fear. "Your plants are invading my side of the fire escape," Tristan grumbled one evening, pruning shears in hand. Liam rolled his eyes from his window. "Lighten up, Hale. They're just ivy. Like your heart, tangled but green." The barb stung, but it was the undercurrent that haunted. Liam's voice held no malice, only a quiet plea. Tristan wondered, in the sterile hum of the hospital, if he was fighting the wrong battle. The operating room lights buzzed like angry hornets as Tristan sutured a bypass graft, his focus laser-sharp, but his mind wandered to the argument that morning. Liam had left a sketch on Tristan's door, a caricature of him as a grumpy surgeon battling a dragon-labeled stress, and Tristan had crumpled it, only to smooth it out later in the dim light of his kitchen. Why did every gesture from Liam feel like a hook in his chest, pulling him toward an edge he couldn't name? Back home that evening, the brownstone hummed with the city's pulse, distant sirens, the clatter of a bus on Broadway, and Liam's guitar strumming a melancholic riff that seeped through the plaster like smoke. Tristan poured a glass of bourbon, the amber liquid catching the lamplight, and sank into his armchair. He had always prided himself on precision, every incision planned, every heartbeat charted, but Liam defied algorithms. The man was a whirlwind, mornings jogging along Lake Washington in neon shorts, evenings hosting impromptu barbecues on the roof with friends from his design collective, voices rising in debates over brutalist architecture. Tristan watched from his window sometimes, envious of the ease with which Liam connected, bodies leaning close in shared stories. It stirred memories of his own youth, stolen kisses behind the barn in Montana with a farmhand named Riley, ended too soon by whispers of scandal. A knock shattered the reverie. Tristan opened the door to find Liam, disheveled from a deadline crunch, holding a six-pack. Truce. Liam's smile was tentative, hazel eyes searching. I owe you for the other night. Let me buy you a beer. Or 6. Against his better judgment, Tristan stepped aside. They settled on the fire escape, legs dangling over the alley where graffiti bloomed like urban wildflowers. The air was crisp, carrying scents of street tacos from the vendor below and the faint brine from the sound. Liam cracked a can, foam spilling over his knuckles. So, what's your deal, Doc? You save hearts all day, but yours seems locked up tighter than Fort Knox. Tristan took a long pull, the bitterness grounding him. Not everyone wears theirs on their sleeve. Some of us have reasons. He thought of his father, a stoic rancher who had nodded once when Tristan came out at 18, do what you gotta do, son, and never spoken of it again. The silence had built walls thicker than any brownstone. Liam nodded, unfazed. Fair. Mine was shattered last year. Fiancée, ex now, bailed when I wouldn't leave Seattle for her corporate gig in New York. Said I was too rooted in whimsy. He air-quoted with a wry twist, but pain etched his features. Turns out, whimsy pays the rent, but it doesn't keep people. The vulnerability cracked something in Tristan. He shared fragments, the engagement to Alex, the endless shifts that eroded their spark until Alex walked out mid-argument, suitcase in hand. He called me absent. Maybe he was right. Liam's hand brushed his arm, a fleeting touch that sent sparks up Tristan's spine. Or maybe you were just surviving. Seattle's a survivor city, earthquakes, rain, tech bros invading. We adapt. They clinked cans, the gesture sealing a fragile peace. As the night deepened, stories flowed, Liam's childhood sketching eagles in Oregon pines, Tristan's first solo surgery under fluorescent glare. Laughter came easier, the guitar forgotten inside. But peace was fleeting. Days later, Tristan caught Liam in the hallway with a date, a tall brunette named Jordan, laughter bubbling as they fumbled keys. Jealousy twisted like a knife, irrational and sharp. That night, when Liam's playlist thumped too loud, Tristan banged on the wall. Some of us work tomorrow, he yelled through the plaster. The music cut, replaced by silence heavier than before. Morning brought no coffee, only the echo of his own pettiness. At the hospital, the rhythm was relentless. Tristan consulted on a case in the ER, a construction worker from Ballard, crushed beam pinning his leg, vitals crashing. We need to amputate, Tristan urged, but the attending hesitated, family hovering tearful in the hall. In the end, they saved the limb, but the man's face haunted Tristan, gratitude mixed with loss. You listen to me, the patient rasped later, gripping Tristan's hand. Didn't have to. The words lingered as Tristan drove home through sheets of rain, wipers slashing like accusations. He found Liam on the stoop, sketching under the awning, rain pattering on the tin roof. Rough day? Liam asked without looking up, pencil flying over paper. Tristan slumped beside him, the wet chill seeping through his coat. Saved a leg. Lost my cool with you. Liam set the pad aside, a half-formed portrait of the city skyline, ferries dotting the dark water. We're both good at that. But hey, I get it. Life's messy. Their shoulders touched, warmth against the damp, and Tristan felt the pull again, magnetic and terrifying. Over the next weeks, the truce held in fits. Shared runs along the Burke-Gilman Trail, breath sinking to pounding feet on crushed gravel. Coffee at a hole in the wall in Georgetown, where baristas knew Liam by name and slipped Tristan a free scone. Evening sketching together, Liam teaching Tristan to capture light on a page, hands guiding over charcoal. See? It's about feeling the line, not forcing it, Liam murmured, breath ghosting Tristan's neck. Heat bloomed low in Tristan's belly, desire he quenched with work. Yet shadows loomed. Tristan noticed Liam's late nights, phone calls hushed and urgent. Once, overhearing fragments, I can't keep covering. Just need time, he wondered. Liam brushed it off as client drama, but doubt seeded. Then came the gala, Seattle General's annual fundraiser at the Museum of Pop Culture, black tie swirl of donors and champagne flutes. Tristan attended solo, ill at ease in tuxedo finery, mingling with board members who praised his prodigy status. Across the room, Liam appeared, arm-linked with Jordan, looking devastating in a slim suit. Tristan froze, champagne turning sour. He cornered Liam by the Jimi Hendrix exhibit, bass lines thrumming faintly. Didn't know you were into fundraisers. Liam shifted, Jordan's hand on his elbow. Client schmoozing. Jordan works PR here. The introduction was polite, but Jordan's eyes appraised Tristan coolly. As they parted, Liam's whisper followed, "Don't read into it, Doc." But Tristan did, the jealousy festering like an untreated wound. Home alone, Tristan paced, the sketch from weeks ago unfurled on his table. It depicted him not as the dragon slayer, but as a knight weary from battle, eyes soft with unspoken yearning. He texted Liam, "We need to talk." No reply came, only the rain answering his turmoil. Sirens wailed through the pre-dawn fog as Tristan scrubbed in for an emergency aortic repair, the patient's file blurring in his mind's eye with memories of Liam's touch on the trail, fingers brushing during a water break, electric and fleeting. He pushed it down, gloved hands delving into the chest cavity, stitching fragility with threads of nylon. "Clamp," he barked, voice steady, but inside, the clamp was on his own heart, tightening with each unanswered text. By midday, exhaustion clawed at him. He collapsed in the on-call room, phone silent, the sketch crumpled in his pocket like a talisman of what ifs. Seattle unfolded in grays that afternoon, Pike Place market bustling with tourists tossing fish and inhaling chowder steam, while Tristan wandered Capitol Hill in scrubs under his coat, seeking solace in the chaos. He ended up at a dimly lit bar on Pike Street, nursing a whiskey amid vinyl-spinning hipsters. Liam was there, or so the universe conspired, hunched over a laptop in the corner, Jordan absent, fingers drumming to an invisible beat. Tristan approached, resolve hardening. "We talk now." Liam looked up, surprise softening to resignation. "Yeah. We do." They moved to a booth, the booth's vinyl creaking like old bones. Liam ordered IPAs, foam clinging to his lip as he spoke first. "About the gala, Jordan and I, it's casual. She's straight, we're just friends covering events. But you're under my skin, Tristan. Have been since that flood night." The confession hung, raw and unadorned, and Tristan's breath caught. "Then why the walls? The music, the bike, it's like you poke to see if he'll snap." Liar's eyes darkened. "Because you do. And it's hot, but it's killing me. I see you, Doc, the way you flinch from closeness, like it's a scalpel waiting to cut. I had a guy once, in Portland, who ghosted after I said I loved him. Left me sketching ghosts." Tristan reached across, hand covering Liam's, skin warm and calloused from pencils. "I'm scared too. Alex wasn't the first. My dad's silence. It taught me love is a risk you amputate before it bleeds." They lingered there, thumbs tracing circles, the bar fading to a hum. That spark ignited tentative dates, a hike in Discovery Park, salt air whipping their faces as they crested dunes to views of the Olympics shrouded in mist. Picnics on Alki Beach, sandwiches from a West Seattle deli, toes in sand while gulls wheeled overhead. Liam sketched Tristan against the sunset, capturing the vulnerability in his profile, the slight part of lips, the unguarded tilt of head. "You're beautiful when you let go," Liam whispered, and Tristan believed him, pulling him into a kiss that tasted of sea and salt, hands tangling in blonde waves. Intimacy bloomed slow, deliberate. First kisses in the brownstone stairwell, rain drumming on the roof like applause. Then nights in Liam's bed, bodies mapping each other under threadbare sheets, Tristan's fingers tracing tattoos on Liam's ribs, a compass rose inked after his ex, pointing north to home. Liam's mouth on Tristan's collarbone, eliciting gasps that echoed softer than their old fights. "Tell me what you need," Liam murmured, voice husky, and Tristan did, whispering fears into the dark, vulnerabilities peeled like onion skins. But joy carried undercurrents. At work, Tristan thrived, his hands surer, colleagues noting the lift in his step. New meds, his resident teased during rounds in the ICU, where monitors beeped lullabies to recovering patients. Nah, Tristan grinned, just listening to my heart for once. Evenings, they cooked together, Tristan chopping vegetables with surgical precision, Liam improvising sauces from farmers' market halls, basil and garlic perfuming the air. Friends merged, Liam's collective critiquing Tristan's attempts at drawing, Tristan's hospital buddies toasting at a Fremont brewery, where craft ales flowed and stories of near misses in the OR mingled with tales of botched client pitches. Yet, fissures appeared. Liam's late nights returned, phone buzzing under pillows. Clients, he insisted, but Tristan caught glimpses, emails from a firm in Chicago, relocation package in subject lines. One evening, after a shift ending in a code's blue, a young father flatlining despite defibrillations, Tristan came home shattered, seeking Liam's arms. But Liam was distant, pacing with a sketchpad untouched. "Everything okay?" Tristan asked, shedding his coat. Liam hesitated, then got an offer. "Big one. Stability, you know." The word landed like a blow. "And us?" Tristan pressed, voice cracking. Liam pulled him close, but the embrace felt scripted. "We're solid. Just thinking." Sleep came fitful, dreams of incisions reopening, blood pooling on white tiles. Weeks later, the truth unraveled. Tristan found the letter in Liam's recycling, creased offer from a Chicago agency, signing bonus highlighted. But beneath, a photo slipped out, Liam with a man, arms entwined, time-stamped 6 months prior. "Who is he?" Tristan demanded that night, paper trembling in his fist. Liam paled. "Old flame. From before us. I ended it when we..." Lies crumbled under scrutiny, the calls weren't clients, but check-ins from Marcus, the ex, spiraling into addiction after their breakup. Liam had been sending money, covering rehab stints, a secret lifeline from guilt. "You lied," Tristan whispered, betrayal a scalpel to his trust. "I thought we were building something real." Liam reached, desperate. "I was protecting you from my mess. But I love you, Tristan. That's real." The words, once longed for, now poisoned. Tristan fled to his side, door locking with finality, the wall between them thicker than ever. Days blurred in isolation, shifts mechanical, hands shaking on retractors. Friends noticed, his best friend from residency, Elena, cornering him in the cafeteria. "Talk to me. You look like you lost a patient." He confessed in fragments, her hug fierce. "Hearts heal, Tristan. But you gotta operate on yours first." Alone, he traced the compass tattoo in memory, wondering if north led away or toward forgiveness. Reconciliation flickered, a sketch slid under his door, Liam rendered as a ship in storm, caption, "Anchor me." Tristan kept it, but pride held. Then crisis struck, not his, but Liam's. A call at midnight, Liam in Harborview ER, collapsed from exhaustion, dehydration masking deeper strain. Tristan raced across town, rain-slick streets mirroring his panic, bursting into the bay to find Liam pale on a gurney, for dripping saline. "You came," Liam rasped, eyes locking. Tristan gripped his hand, pulse thready under thumb. "Always fight for what beats." The ER bay hummed with fluorescent urgency as nurses bustled, charting vitals and wheeling in crash carts, but Tristan saw only Liam, cheeks hollowed, blonde hair matted with sweat, the man who had redrawn his world now fragile as rice paper. Dehydration secondary to stress, the attending murmured, clipboard in hand, but hell need rest. "Family." Tristan swallowed. "I'm his partner." The word escaped unbidden, claiming space, and Liam's eyes fluttered open, gratitude shimmering. "Stay," he breathed, fingers intertwining weak but insistent. Tristan pulled a chair close, the vinyl groaning under him, and held vigil through the night. Seattle's skyline twinkled beyond rain-streaked windows, ferries ghosting the black water like memories adrift. He thought of their first fight, over a misplaced mail key, voices rising until Mrs. Patel from downstairs banged her broom, and how it masked the magnetic draw, two poles clashing to connect. Now, in this sterile limbo, walls stripped bare, Tristan confessed softly. I was scared. Of losing control. Of you. Liam squeezed his hand. Me too. Marcus. It was guilt, not love. But hiding it from you? That was cowardice. Dawn broke grey, doctor's rounds interrupting with questions and reassurances. Discharged by noon, Liam leaned on Tristan as they cabbed home, the driver humming along to KEXP radio, indie tracks weaving through traffic on IR5. The brownstone loomed welcoming, AV tendrils waving from the fire escape like old friends. Inside Liam's apartment, Tristan fussed, broth simmering on the stove, blankets tucked precise as sutures. Bossy Doc, Liam teased from the couch, color returning to his lips. But humor faded to gravity. I turned down Chicago. For us. If you'll have me. Tristan's heart stuttered, a post-op rhythm seeking steady. Why? Liam sat up, wincing. Because you're my north, Tristan. Compass points here. They kissed then, slow and healing, tongues tracing apologies, hands relearning curves and hollows. That afternoon unfolded in languor, Liam sketching lazy lines while Tristan read aloud from a dog-eared copy of The Leaves of Grass, Whitman's verses on comradeship resonating like prophecy. I sing the body electric, Tristan intoned, voice low, and Liam's gaze heated, pulling him down for more. Healing wasn't linear. Arguments resurfaced, smaller but sharper, Tristan snapping over Liam's forgotten laundry in the shared dryer, Liam withdrawing into work when Tristan cancelled a date for a paged-in emergency. You're doing it again, prioritizing the white coat, Liam accused one evening, dinner cooling on plates. Tristan bristled. And you're retreating into sketches when it gets real. The cycle spun, but now with tools, Elena recommending couples counseling at a Pike Place clinic, sessions in a sunlit room overlooking stalls of lavender and salmon. There, under a therapist's gentle probes, they unearthed roots, Tristan's fear of abandonment echoing his father's distance, Liam's guilt a chain from past failures. Progress came in layers. A weekend getaway to the San Juan Islands, ferry chugging from Anacortes through orca-dotted straits. They rented a cabin on Orcas, wood smoke curling from the chimney as they hiked Moran State Park, leaves crunching under boots in autumn gold. Atop Mount Constitution, panoramic views unfolding, cascades of evergreens to the Salish Sea, Liam dropped to one knee, not with ring but sketchpad. Marry me, he said, flipping pages to illustrations of their life, intertwined hands on the trail, shared coffee mug steaming, a future home with a studio window framing the sound. Not today, but someday. Build with me. Tears pricked Tristan's eyes, wind whipping his hair. Yes. God, yes. They made love that night by the fireplace, bodies sinking like heartbeats post-transplant, fierce, tender, alive. Back in Seattle, commitment deepened, keys exchanged permanently, Liam's plants migrating to Tristan's sill, their playlists merging on shared speakers, Tristan's classical for focus, Liam's folk for unwind. But betrayal brewed unseen. Marcus resurfaced, sober but desperate, emails escalating to voicemails, "You owe me, Liam." After everything. Liam deleted them, but Tristan found one by accident, voice laced with old intimacy. Doubt crept, a shadow on the EKG. Head's clean now. Just needs closure, Liam explained over takeout pho from a Capitol Hill spot, steam rising like unspoken fears. Tristan nodded, but the seed took root. Work amplified the strain. A malpractice suit loomed from a surgery gone awry, a valve replacement where complication arose, patient now ventilator-bound in the ICU. Lawyers circled, depositions cold as exam rooms. You did everything right, Elena assured during lunch at the hospital cafe, overlooking Elliott Bay where container ships lumbered like weary giants. But self-doubt gnawed, was he savior or harbinger? Nights, he woke sweating, Liam's arm heavy across his waist, whispering, "I'm here." The crisis peaked on a stormy November eve. Tristan operated through the night on a multi-car pileup from Aurora Avenue, rain turning roads to rivers. He saved 3, lost one, a barista from their favorite cafe, face familiar from foam art smiles. Home at dawn, hollowed, he found Liam packing, not leaving, but for Marcus. Has relapsing. I have to go, Portland, just a week. Help him get into a program. Tristan recoiled. Again? With secrets. Words escalated, accusations flying. You choose ghosts over us. And you choose fear over trust. Liam left, door clicking soft as a scalpel sheath. Tristan collapsed against the wall, sobs racking, the apartment echoing empty. Days stretched, shifts on autopilot, Elena forcing coffee breaks where he admitted, I pushed him away. Like Alex. Like everyone. She hugged him fierce. Then pull him back. Hearts don't flatline easy. Reaching out took courage, a text amid the void, come home. Listen to mine. Liam returned 2 days early, eyes red-rimmed from bus rides and interventions. I told Marcus goodbye for good. Hired a service for him. In the hallway, they collided, forgiveness in embraces, kisses bruising with need. Were messy, Liam murmured against Tristan's neck. But were ours. Winter clamped Seattle in its vice, holiday lights twinkling along University Avenue like defiant stars against the solstice dark, but Tristan felt the chill deeper, a frost in his veins from the near loss. Liam's return had thawed the immediate freeze, their nights reclaiming heat, bodies entwined under down comforters, breaths mingling in whispers of stay and always. Yet the scare lingered, a scar tissue reminder that love demanded vigilance, not just incision. Mornings, as Tristan tied his tie before the mirror, Liam would slip behind, arms circling waist, chin on shoulder. Beat steady, head ask, hand splayed over heart. Tristan would nod, turning for a kiss that grounded him before the oar's glare. The malpractice hearing arrived like a thunderhead. In a downtown conference room, glass walls framing the Space Needle swathed in fog, lawyers dissected the surgery, charts projected, witnesses called. Tristan testified, voice even recounting the valve placement, the bleed that no one foresaw. I weighed every risk, he said, eyes on the patient's family, wife clutching a photo, eyes hollow. The verdict cleared him, complication deemed unavoidable, but victory tasted hollow. Driving home via Lake Union, houseboats bobbing serene, he pulled over, tears blurring the cyclamen blooms in community gardens. Liam waited at the brownstone, cocoa steaming on the stoop. You're free, he said, pulling Tristan inside to warmth. That freedom birthed boldness. They hosted their first joint holiday, a tree trimmed with ornaments scavenged from thrift shops in Ballard, glass orbs painted with fairies, wooden carvings of Sasquatch grinning. Friends gathered, Elena's laughter booming over eggnog, Liam's collective debating font choices for invites while Tristan manned the kitchen, turkey roasting golden. Toasts rang, to second chances, to walls torn down. Under mistletoe scavenged from the market, Liam kissed him slow, world narrowing to hazel eyes and the spice of cinnamon on lips. Spring unfurled tentative, cherry blossoms dusting Queen and Hill in pink confetti, mirroring the renewal in Tristan's step. He mentored a resident, Javier, fresh from Johns Hopkins, sharing rounds in the cath lab where catheters snaked veins like exploratory rivers. It's not just skill, Tristan lectured, screen glowing with arterial maps. It's intuition, listening to what the heart whispers. Javier nodded, but Tristan heard his own echo, the lesson learned in loving Liam. Their bond deepened in quiet rituals, Saturday markets in Fremont, haggling over heirloom tomatoes and handmade soap scented with lavender from the Skagit Valley. Evenings sketching by the window, Tristan's lines improving under Liam's guidance, capturing the man in repose, head tilted, light gilding stubble. You see me, Liam said once, awed, and Tristan replied, finally. Intimacy evolved too, explorations bolder, shower steam veiling mirrors as water cascaded, hands soaping skin, mouths following trails of suds. I want all of you, Tristan confessed one dawn, and Liam yielded, trust absolute, they're joining a symphony of gasps and grips, release crashing like waves on deception pass. But undercurrents stirred. Liam's commission surged, a mural for a tech startup in South Lake Union, pixels translating to massive walls depicting Cascadian myths. Late nights returned, but transparent, texts updating home soon, love. Tristan trusted, yet his past whispered doubts, dreams of abandonment where Liam faded into mist. Elena noticed during a jog along the waterfront, Space Needle looming like a watchful eye. "You're healing, but scars itch," she said, slowing to catch breath. "Talk it out, in therapy, with him." They did, sessions evolving to celebrate growth, therapist praising their resilient narrative. Summer scorched mild, Seattle's rare sun-baking pavement, drawing them to golden gardens for picnics, frisbees arcing over dunes where freighters honked salutes. There, amid laughter and sand in swimsuits, Liam proposed for real, ring simple, silver band etched with a compass rose, slipped on Tristan's finger during a sunset symphony of gulls. "Navigate with me." Kneeling in the surf, waves lapping ankles. Tristan pulled him up, yes, dissolving in salt-kissed joy. Wedding plans wove into life, a small ceremony at Gas Works Park, kites dancing overhead like blessings. Invites hand-lettered by Liam, RSVPs trickling, Elena's yes emphatic, Javier toasting as best man. But joy shadowed when Marcus called again, voice slurred despite sobriety claims. "Heard you're settling. Congrats. Don't forget who broke you first." Liam hung up, trembling, and Tristan held him through the night, rocking like a patient in recovery. "Hes poison," Tristan said. "We're antidote." The betrayal crested unexpectedly. During a bachelor weekend in Leavenworth, Bavarian facades hiding craft breweries, Tristan got the call, anonymous tip to the hospital board, alleging Liam's influence swayed a patient consult, fabricated, but rooted in a grudge from Marcus, who had hacked Liam's emails for ammo. Investigation launched, Tristan suspended pending review, world tilting. "Hes destroying us," Liam raged, driving hairpin turns back to Seattle, evergreens blurring. Tristan gripped the dash. "No. Hes forcing us to fight together." They confronted the storm head-on, lawyers retained, statements given in sterile offices overlooking the monorail. Evidence cleared Tristan swiftly, logs irrefutable, but the wound festered. Marcus escalated, showing at the brownstone drunk, pounding doors with accusations. "You left me for him." Police hauled him away, but the echo lingered. Liam broke then, sobbing in Tristan's arms. "I should have cut ties clean. Dragged you into my wreckage." Tristan cupped his face. "We're stronger fused. Like arteries, pressure forges resilience." Healing demanded boundaries, restraining order filed, therapy intensified. In the aftermath, they emerged tempered, rings glinting as promises renewed. Fall returned, leaves carpeting paths in Volunteer Park, where they walked, conservatory glass steaming with orchids inside. "What now?" Liam asked, hand in hand. Tristan smiled. "Now, we live the story we built." Autumn wind stripped the maples bare along Aurora Bridge, suicide's whispers hushed by new netting, a metaphor Tristan clung to as he navigated the board's fallout, colleagues' whispers in hallways, Elena fierce in defense. "Gossip dies, truth endures," she said over lattes at a cafe in Wallingford, steam curling like unresolved tension. Work reinstated him with apologies, but Tristan returned changed, rounds infused with empathy, pausing to hold a daughter's hand in oncology, whispering, "Hes fighting because you are." Patience bloomed under it, recovery's brighter. Home anchored deeper. Liam, shaken by Marcus' intrusion, channeled fury into art, a series of canvases for a So-Do gallery show, fractured lines, depicting hearts as circuit boards, love as solder-mending breaks. Opening night buzzed, wine flowing, critics murmuring approval, Tristan in a borrowed blazer mingling with patrons from Belltown lofts. "Your muse?" a curator asked, nodding to a piece of Tristan mid-laugh, eyes alight. Liam overheard, grinning. "Always." Later, in the alley behind, amid dumpster shadows and distant traffic hum, they celebrated against brick, kisses urgent, hands roaming, reclaiming power in the night's embrace. Winter holidays approached, but Marcus' shadow loomed, court date set for the violation, a downtown hearing room cold as judgment. They attended together, hands clasped under the table, Judge Stern in robes. Marcou's testimony unraveled, addiction admitted, remorse feigned but fractured by outbursts. He was mine first. Verdict: probation, mandated treatment, distance enforced. Outside, rain sluicing gutters, Liam exhaled. It's over. Tristan pulled him close under shared umbrella. We begin. The wedding dawned crisp, gas works park transformed, arches of willow from Ravenna, paths lined with lanterns glowing like fireflies. 50 guests milled, family from Montana's wide plains, Liam's Oregon kin with flannel and warmth. Vows exchanged atop the hill, city sprawling below like a gift, sound glittering, Olympics purple hazed. I promise to listen, Tristan said, voice carrying on breeze, to your heart, my own. Liam echoed, rings sliding home. And he'll draw us through every storm. Cheers erupted, cake cut under kite strings, dance floor improvised on grass to acoustic sets of Fleet Foxes covers. Honeymoon whisked them to the Olympic Peninsula, cabin in the Hoh rainforest, moss-draped giants whispering ancient secrets. Days hiking to Solduc Falls, mist-veiling ferns, nights in clawfoot tubs steaming with cedar oils, bodies slick and slow. This is eternity, Liam murmured, tracing Tristan's wedding band in the firelight. Tristan nodded, fears silenced by the man's steady gaze. They returned renewed, brownstone now theirs, walls painted sage, studio merged with Tristan's study, shelves blending journals and palettes. Life layered on, Tristan's promotion to department head, speeches in auditorium overlooking the bay, crediting a personal rhythms for his edge. Liam's mural commissioned for the hospital lobby, arteries as rivers, hearts as harbors, unveiled with ribbon cuts and patient dedications. Domesticity sweetened, adopting a rescue mutt from the shelter in Magnolia, named Echo for her bark through walls, romps in Discovery Park chasing sticks. Date nights evolved, farm-to-table in Finney Ridge, where farm-fresh salads preceded slow dances to jazz from a corner sax. Yet crisis brewed insidious. During a routine checkup, Tristan's EKG flagged irregularity, a murmur, faint but persistent. Stress-related, the cardiologist downplayed, but tests escalated, echo revealing mild cardiomyopathy, genetic echo from his father's unspoken history. Manageable, the specialist assured in a clinic by Swedish hospital, overlooking Lake Washington's yacht-dotted calm. Meds, lifestyle. Tristan nodded, but fear coiled, the irony of a heart doctor with a faltering pump. He withheld from Liam at first, surgery scheduling swallowing days, ablation procedure to zap errant paths. But Liam sensed, sketches turning somber, eye searching. Confrontation came gentle, over dinner of salmon from the market, rosemary crisping in the oven. Talk to me, Liam urged, fork paused. Tears welled as Tristan confessed, vulnerability raw. What if I can't give you forever? Liam's chair scraped, arms enveloping. Then we steal every now. Together. The procedure loomed, pre-op jitters fraying nerves. Liam held vigil in pre-op, sketchpad idle, thumb rubbing Tristan's knuckles. Beat for me, he whispered as anesthesia tugged. Waking groggy, monitors beeping steady, Liam's face first sight, relief etching lines. Recovery wove slow, bed rest enforced, echo curling at feet, Liam force-feeding smoothies blended with kale from the co-op, taste like grass, Tristan grumbled, but Liam's kiss sweetened it. Therapy adapted, sessions on mortality, love isn't curing, the counselor said, it's accompanying the ache. Spring bloomed resilient, rhododendrons rioting in the arboretum. Tristan returned to work phased, hand steady on first post-op case, a valve repair mirroring his own mend. Patients noticed the softer edge, you get it now, doc, an elder murmured from his bed. Liam thrived too, book deal for his series, Lines of the Heart, illustrations paired with essays on queer resilience in the Pacific Northwest. But the true high tide swelled emotional. A letter arrived from Montana's Tristan's father, postmark faded, script shaky, heard about the wedding. Proud, son. Wish I'd said sooner. Enclosed, a photo, young Tristan on horseback, father beside, smiles rare and real. Liam read it aloud by the window, voice thick. Has reaching. Tristan wept, grief and grace mingling, dialing the number with trembling fingers. Dad. Silence bridged miles, then, Tristan. Tell me about him. Hours poured, stories of fights to love, brownstones to beaches. Ending with, come visit. Bring Liam. Summer solstice found them road-tripping east, Cascades yielding to high plains, Echo in the back seat panting joy. The ranch awaited, weathered barn, fields golden under big sky. Father's embrace awkward but earnest, handshake for Liam firm. Treat him right, he rumbled over steak dinner, stars wheeling vast overhead. They did hikes to childhood creeks, sketches of elk silhouettes, nights in the guest loft where Tristan traced constellations with Liam's hand in his. Back in Seattle, the journey crystallized, healing not endpoint, but horizon. Were mended, Tristan said one evening on the roof, city lights sprawling, Echo snoring at feet. Liam leaned in. And still breaking, in beautiful ways. The wheel turned full as autumn gilded the edges of evergreens once more, Seattle's rhythm a familiar heartbeat, ferries tooting across the sound, coffee queues snaking under awnings heavy with damp leaves. Tristan, a year post-procedure, felt the steadiness in his chest, not flawless, but fortified, like the netting on Aurora Bridge catching falls before they plummet. Department head duties bloomed, lectures at UW Med School, auditorium packed with wide-eyed interns, Tristan weaving tales of the human variables into slides of angiograms. Hearts don't chart alone, head say, glancing at the back row where Liam sketched furtively, capturing the passion in Tristan's gestures. Their life wove richer tapestries. Liam's book launched to acclaim, a coffee table tome blending art and narrative, queer stories etched in ink and vulnerability, signings at Elliott Bay Book Company drawing crowds from Vashon to Bellevue. Tristan beamed from the sidelines, ring-catching light as he fielded questions on inspiration. "Here's my muse," Liam would quip, pulling him unstage for impromptu sketches, audiences cooing over the intimacy. Echo grew plump on walks, herding squirrels in Cal Anderson Park where pride flags still fluttered faded from summer. Anniversaries marked milestones, first fight revisited over wine at a Georgetown speakeasy, laughter dissecting the pettiness, "You blocked my bike. Your curry smelled like arson." Toasting growth. Second proposal, playful, Liam on one knee in the OR lounge, ring box disguised as a suture kit, colleagues cheering from rounds. But deeper currents flowed. Tristan's father visited, plane touching down at SeaTac amid drizzle, rental car navigating to the brownstone. Awkward at first, handshakes stiff, silences thick as Montana fog, but dinners thawed, stories of ranch hardships, father's quiet coming out in old age to a support group in Billings. Regret the silence, he admitted over Liam's grilled trout, eyes on joined hands. But see the man you became. Strong. Healing rippled outward. Tristan volunteered at a free clinic in the Central District, suturing wounds on unhoused men sharing fragments of lives under bridges. One, a veteran named Ray with eyes like faded denim, confessed post-stitch ain't just skin mending, doc. Tristan nodded, seeing Liam in every resilient beat. Liam, in turn, mentored queer youth at a drop-in center in Capitol Hill, sketchpads tools for voicing unspoken aches, dragons slain, compasses redrawn. Crisis, inevitable companion, struck soft. Liam's ex, Marcus, clean at last, sent a letter, not venom, but amends, "I was the storm. You're the shore that held." Liam read it by the window, echo at feet, then burned it in the sink, ashes swirling down drain. "Closure," he said, turning to Tristan. "But you're my horizon." That night, love-making tender, body's language of forgiveness, slow rocks, whispers mapping scars, release a quiet wave. Winter solstice brought revelation, the pregnancy test, not theirs, but Elena's, surrogate dream realized with her wife, joy spilling over baby shower at their queen and home, balloons bobbing like hopes. Tristan held the sonogram, tiny heart flickering, and felt the echo of his own journey. Life insists, he told Liam later, snow dusting the fire escape rare and magic. Liam nodded, sketching the ultrasound curve. And we witness. Spring heralded expansion, adoption papers for a foster teen, Alex, not the ex, but a 16-year-old artist from Tacoma, eyes wary but talented, crashing in group homes. They met him at a workshop Liam led, his drawings raw with urban grit. "Wanna crash longer?" Liam offered casual, and months later, papers signed. Alex's room bloomed with easels, rules gentle, school, therapy, family dinners of pad thai and heart talks. "You saved me," Alex muttered once, hugging awkward. Tristan shook head. "We listened." Summer solstice circled back, gas works park alive with kites for their vow renewal, intimate, just core circle under willow arches. Vows evolved, through fights and floods. Tristan said, "Wind tousling hair, I choose your chaos." Liam echoed, "And your calm." Rings renewed, dance under stars, echo chasing fireflies in grass. Years layered, but the core held, brown stone weathered but warm, walls bearing scars of hangs and hooks. Tristan, grey threading temples, still scrubbed in for complex cases, hands wise with time. Liam, lines etching laugh crinkles, murals spanning so due to the airport, stories in galleries from Portland to Chicago. Alex thrived, college-bound for RISD, hugs fierce before dawn drops. In quiet moments, dawn coffees on the stoop, rain pattering ivy, they reflected. "We fought to hear," Tristan said once, head on Liam's shoulder, city waking slow. "Worth every scar." Liam kissed his temple. "Every beat." The heart, it turned out, wasn't conquered but conversed with, whispers heeded in the space between neighbors turned lovers, surgeons, and artists forging one pulse. In Seattle's endless drizzle, they walked hand in hand, umbrellas shared, ready for whatever storm or sun next broke.